This illustration deals with sizing number 6 AWG or smaller conductors in accordance with NEC 200.6A1 through A8. The purpose of the change, again, is a revision. This revision has been made to clarify the identification requirements for conductors that are number 4 AWG or larger in cables. Identification of the grounded conductor shall be permitted to be identified as permitted in 200.6b. And as I pointed out earlier, if you look at 310.6, it will automatically refer you to these sections. So you need to look at 310.6 and 310.10. And of course, if you should have an external ridge, it shall be permitted to identify the grounded conductor for multiple conductor flat cable with conductors that are number 4 AWG or larger. Now, you kind of notice that that's kind of a cutoff sizing for many requirements in the NEC. Now, first, I'd like to point out, looking at the bottom cable here, that by using white stripes or any color insulation except green can identify that conductor. Secondly, let's look at the information above this multiple conductor cable here at the top, and notice the call out is multiple conductor cable with grounded or neutral conductors, white or gray, Corner phase, colored gray, either one of those would identify it. Now, thirdly, color code or identify white or gray, and we know 200.6A, 210.5A for a branch circuit. For a feeder, 215.12A would give instructions how you would ground it. So, you know, dealing with two systems, we looked at that earlier, where you'd have 480, 277, and 120, 208. And we said, yeah, you could use a white for 120, 208, and you could use a gray for 277, 480, and that would kind of identify those neutrals to which system they belong to. Now, I would like to look at next our notes, and notice note 1 to the very right-hand side of that illustration. Note 1 says a number 4 AWG or larger, then we could use that external edge as a permitted method of identifying that grounded conductor. And then secondly, up here said a multiple conductor cable with grounded neutral conductors, white or gray, or corner face colored gray would be okay. And then we would look at note 2 and kind of review it at the top. And it says, when identifying the grounded conductor, also review exceptions 1 and 2, as well as the informational note to obtain additional information on how to identify that grounded conductor. And then finally, we'll look at note 3 at the very bottom of the cables that you see in the illustration, and right above the main title head, sizes number 6 AWG or smaller. And note 3 says the grounded neutral conductor number 6 or smaller shall have a continuous white or gray outer finish or a continuous white stripes along its entire length, or any other color except green insulation, and then those colors that are used for your ungrounded phase conductors in a coordinates. Now, very important to me, if you forget these reference sections, just go into the note 3 and look at 310.6 and 310.10. Notice, I believe 310.6 is going to deal with your where you can use these conductors and so forth on dry, damp, wet, and so forth. And 310.10 would have A, referring you to 200.6 for the grounded conductor. B, refers you to 250.119 for color coding or identifying the equipment ground. And then 310.10C would refer you to the ungrounded conductors section that instructs you how to identify those, and that's 210.5 B, I believe it is, or C, excuse me. And then look at 215.12C for the feeder conductors, and we are instructed how to do that. 310.10D as in dog now would refer you to what types of insulation is permitted to be exposed to the sunlight. And just review these sections very carefully and understand that that grounded conductor now is required to have an identification for systems that are less than 50 volts DC, or for systems of AC systems. We must make sure that grounded conductor is identified properly.